What would you do if you gave birth to twins, and one came out with dark skin and the other came out with snow-white skin and golden hair? Imagine the shock, the confusion, the absolute wonder of that moment. That's exactly what happened to one family in Lagos, Nigeria, and their story has captivated the entire world. Before we continue, tell us in the comments what time it is and where you are watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get back to our story. Most people assume twins look alike. But Daniel and David Omeron shattered that assumption the moment they entered the world. Born just minutes apart, these two little boys carry the same blood, share the same parents, and sleep under the same roof. Yet to a stranger on the street, they look like they come from entirely different parts of the world. And the reason behind it? A rare genetic twist that science calls albinism, and that their mother simply calls a miracle. Their parents, Stacy and Babajide Omeron, both 38 years old and both of Nigerian descent, already had a 4-year-old daughter named Amara at home when they welcomed the twins into the world. Stacy, a skilled fashion designer with an eye for beauty, had no idea what was about to unfold inside that delivery room. Nothing in her pregnancy had hinted at what was coming. Nothing could have prepared her for the sight that greeted her the moment her second son was placed in her arms. Daniel arrived first, smooth-skinned and dark-haired, a perfect mirror of his mother's complexion and his father's strong features. Healthy, beautiful, everything a parent dreams of. Then came David, and the room went quiet. David had come into the world wrapped in pale, almost luminous white skin, with a head full of soft golden hair that caught the hospital light like something out of a painting. Stacy stared. Babajide stared. Even the nurses stopped moving. Nobody quite knew what to say. For a brief moment, everyone in that delivery room was frozen by the sheer impossibility of what they were seeing with their own eyes. Stacy has never forgotten that moment. She describes it as one of the most overwhelming experiences of her life, equal parts shock and awe. She had been through labor, through the exhaustion of a cesarean section, through the anxiety of waiting to hear her baby's cry. But nothing had readied her for the sight of David. She recalls how the nurse had warned her, quietly, almost hesitantly, that the second baby had golden hair. Stacy assumed she had misheard. She hadn't. When she finally looked down at her son, she couldn't find the words. She called Babajide into the room immediately. He stood there, looking from one baby to the other, back and forth, trying to process what his eyes were telling him. Neither of them could fully believe it. And yet there those two boys were, flesh of their flesh, sons of their blood, one dark, one white, both perfect, both theirs. The doctors quickly explained what had happened. David had been born with oculocutaneous albinism, a rare genetic condition that affects melanin production, the pigment responsible for giving color to skin, hair, and eyes. It was nobody's fault. It wasn't caused by anything Stacy had eaten or done during her pregnancy. It was simply a matter of genetics, of two copies of a recessive gene coming together at the moment of conception. Both Stacy and Babajide carried the gene without knowing it. Neither of them had ever shown any signs of albinism themselves. But together, they had produced a son who would carry it for life. What struck everyone who met David was his eyes. Despite his pale skin and golden hair, David had the same warm brown eyes as his brother Daniel. The same eyes as his sister Amara. The same eyes as his parents. Those eyes made it undeniable. Whatever the outside world might think when it looked at these two boys, they were unmistakably brothers. They were unmistakably a family. Word spread through the hospital fast. Nurses who had not been present for the birth began finding excuses to visit the maternity ward. Doctors who had delivered hundreds of babies over long careers admitted they had never seen anything quite like this. Several of them asked Stacy's permission to take photographs. She understood. She was still in shock herself. The whole situation felt surreal, like something you read about in a magazine, not something that happens to you in real life. 4 days after their birth, Stacy and Babajide brought their sons home. And that's when the real adventure began. Lagos is one of the most vibrant, fast-moving cities in all of Africa. A place where people are never shy about expressing their opinions or their curiosity. The moment Stacy began taking the twins out in public, the reactions were immediate and overwhelming. Strangers would stop dead in their tracks. Market women would call out to their neighbors. People would cross the street just to get a closer look. And the questions never stopped. Stacy tells the story with a laugh now, though she admits it took some getting used to. Everywhere she goes, the bank, the grocery store, the market, people approach her with the same bewildered expression and the same basic question. Which one of these children is actually hers? She answers the same way every time. Both of them. Both children are mine. And every time without fail, the person asking looks at her like she's playing a joke on them. One woman stopped Stacy in the street and asked her, with complete seriousness, to clarify which baby she had given birth to and which baby she was perhaps babysitting for someone else. Stacy had to laugh. She told the woman the truth, and the woman walked away shaking her head, still not fully convinced. That interaction, Stacy says, happens more often than you might think. But here's what nobody outside the family sees, what the strangers on the street don't get to witness when they've walked away and moved on with their day. At home, behind closed doors, Daniel and David are simply brothers. They fight over the same toys. They laugh at the same things. They reach for each other in the night. They are best friends in the way that only twins can be, with a closeness that runs deeper than words, a bond that exists on some level before language, before understanding, before the world has had any chance to shape them. Their father Babajid works long hours at a printing company, but when he comes home in the evenings, the twins light up. Both of them. Together. They pull him toward the speakers and they dance. All three of them moving to the same rhythm, laughing at the same moments, connected by something that no difference in skin color could ever reach. Stacy watches those moments and feels something settle in her chest. Gratitude. Pride. She says she has never once received a cruel comment about her sons. Not a single one. And even if she did, she says it wouldn't shake her. What color their skin is has never mattered to her for even a second. What matters is that they are her boys. What matters is that they are healthy and loved and growing up in a home where they are celebrated exactly as they are. The reaction to the family story has stretched far beyond the streets of Lagos. A modeling agency based in the United Kingdom reached out to Stacy after images of the twins began circulating online. The agency expressed interest in working with the boys on photo shoots, recognizing what the world had already begun to sense, that Daniel and David are extraordinary not in spite of their differences, but because of them. Discussions are still in early stages, and Stacy is cautious but quietly excited. A possible trip to England has already been floated as an idea, a prospect that once would have seemed impossible and now feels like simply the next chapter. Scientists who study human genetics have pointed to stories like David's as a reminder of just how complex and layered the biology of skin color really is. Researchers explain that skin pigmentation is influenced by at least 20 different gene variants, possibly many more, each one carrying 2 or more possible expressions, one tending toward darker tones and one toward lighter. When you consider how many combinations are possible across all those genes, the range of outcomes becomes almost infinite. Every child born is, in a sense, a genetic hand of cards, and sometimes the cards fall in ways that astonish even the people who study them for a living. Oculocutaneous albinism, the condition David carries, affects approximately 1 in every 20,000 births worldwide. It is a lifelong condition, but it does not worsen over time. Those born with it typically have reduced or absent melanin in their skin, hair, and eyes. Many have vision-related challenges as well, sensitivity to light, involuntary eye movement, difficulty with depth perception, conditions that can be managed with proper medical care but that require attention and monitoring throughout childhood. Stacy and Babajid have worked closely with doctors since David's birth to ensure he gets everything he needs. But if you ask Stacy to sum up her life as the mother of these 2 boys, she won't start with the medical terminology. She won't start with the genetics or the hospital story or the strangers on the street. She'll start with the same place she always starts, with the simple, overwhelming fact that she considers herself one of the luckiest mothers alive. Women have pulled her aside in Lagos and told her in hushed voices that they pray every night for twins, that they would give anything for children like Daniel and David. Stacy hears those words and feels the weight of them. She knows what she has. She has never taken it for granted for a single day. These 2 boys, one dark, one white, both with those warm brown eyes, are going to grow up in a world that will stare at them, question them, and try to define them by what they look like on the outside. But they will grow up with something stronger than all of that. They will grow up knowing they are loved. They will grow up knowing they belong to each other. And they will grow up knowing that the woman who brought them into this world looks at both of them and sees exactly the same thing. Everything. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that love makes the world a better place. Drop a comment below. What city are you watching from? Subscribe for more stories that prove love is still the most powerful force in the world.